Welcome to this edition of Buncombe Life. I'm out here in Biltmore at one of the railroad crossings that you've probably crossed a million times. Why are we out here? Because this episode is about train safety. Why are we talking about that? Because trains cross roads on their tracks a lot of places throughout Buncombe County. And you think, well, I cross those every day, big deal. It is a big deal. They want you to be safe. And Operation Lifesaver invited us out to watch one of the trainings that they do for law enforcement personnel. They actually train them on how to respond to a wreck, to a crash, to a derailment, so that they can keep you and all of us as safe as possible when a train pulling like 100 cars is coming through here. If it were to derail, they want to be prepared. We hope that never happens, but it could. So sit back and relax and listen to this. The tips that they tell you, what you'll hear is that they go through a lot of different things to be safe on the train, and you'll need to hear about that because we're only as safe as you make us, and the things that you know about how to stop at these railroad crossings and how to look and listen, like they say, look, listen, and live to be safe on a train. We hope that these next few minutes will renew your respect for the awesome power of trains that pass through Buncombe County every day. So sit back and relax and enjoy this episode about trains. Welcome to this edition of Buncombe Life. We're outside. It's finally warm enough to get outdoors again, and we are down here in Biltmore at the train place. There's train tracks. There's train cars behind me, and we're going to tell you in just a minute why. I'm here with Vivian Bridges. Tell me what your title is.
I'm the Executive Director for North Carolina Operation Lifesaver.
Operation Lifesaver.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we're going to talk about train safety today. And we're down here because you guys are having a class for law enforcement about trains and train safety and train. Tell me about that.
Okay. Our class is called GCCI, which is short for Grade Crossing Collision Investigations.
Ooh.
And what we teach these officers, or hopefully get through to them, is the fastest, most efficient way to investigate a train motor vehicle collision.
Oh.
And it prevents downtime. If a crash occurs in your city, you want the street cleared. You want the train moving, as well as the train. The railroad industry wants the trains to move quickly.
Places to go.
We have things to do and freight to move, and
right.
time is money sort of thing. And so we get these officers out here in the yard. This is the train yard, and we talk about the high pressure tanks. We talk about stopping the engine. We talk about the things that could go wrong or the things that might be dangerous when they come upon a crash scene.
Right.
We also give them the thrill of riding the engine, and that is really a catcher. They love to get on that train. But the best part of being on the train is seeing from the point of view of the engineer. Most people don't realize just how tall, how wide these engines are, and they don't realize how long it takes to stop one.
I just got a little statistic here, just let me throw out to you. I put some stuff together, and you can tell me if this is true. It said once they throw on the brake, it takes about 18 football fields in length to stop a train.
That's correct. Because of the speed, because of the weight, and the fact that there is only 3/4 of an inch of wheel touching rail. Did you know that? The width of a dime is all that's holding that metal on metal. So when they apply the brake, I know that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
When they apply the brake, it slides, and that friction and that heat causes the train to stop. Well, once they throw it in an emergency and they're going 55 miles an hour, it's sliding to a stop. And yes, 18 football fields, it takes about 1.5 miles at 55 miles an hour to come to a stop.
Yeah. There was another little statistic on here. Let me throw this out, and you can tell me if it's true. It says when lights are flashing at a crossing, the train will cross in about 20 seconds.
Yes.
So if you're sitting on the tracks and that engineer sees you,
it's almost too late.
He can't.
That's right. He cannot possibly stop for you. Federal Railroad Administration rules say that the railroads must alert the traffic. At least, the minimum is 20 seconds before they're at the crossing. Well, the gates and lights come on and come down about 26. If they're already flashing, you know the train is really, really close. And that engineer, it's just like you seeing through the clouds at Old Fort. You can't see but just so far in a curve. and on a downhill or an uphill grade. So these engineers really cannot see you if you're sitting at a crossing.
And so you're out here teaching officers, if there is a wreck, and there are, that things do at intersections and other places, these officers then can investigate in an efficient way and actually know what to see, what to look for.
They're knowing what to look for. One of the things that you'll see them testing is the gates and lights to make sure that the bells rang and the lights were working and the gates came down. They also test the horn. The trains are like airplanes. They have a black box, and it tells how fast they were going, when they blew the horn, when they applied the brake. So everything is in that black box. And after the crash, which we really would love for them not to be anymore, but after the crash, they're allowed to request that black box to get every bit of information. And this is something really new, Norfolk Southern and CSX have begun to put cameras on the train so they can see after the fact what actually happened.
What was happening on the train.
That's right.
That's excellent.
Oh, it's wonderful. It really does help, because people say, well, there were no lights, there was no horn, there was no whistle, there was no bell. And when you play back that videotape and you say, I hear a horn, I hear a bell, it can't be denied.
The signs.
People today are not doing it intentionally. It's that cell phone, it's that texting, it's that kid in the backseat screaming, and it's also our daily stress. You know, how many things do you have on your mind from point A to point B? And we're all that way. So what we do with this class is we're encouraging the law enforcement to investigate efficiently, but in the rest of the class, in the last day of the class, I'm also giving them pointers to share with the public about the stopping distance, the weight of the train. The train hitting your car is like your car running over a soda can.
I read that in here. That's amazing.
Yes, it is a wonderful fact, because nobody realizes the weight difference. But we are, unfortunately now, we're number 10 in the nation. That's the high 10, that's the bad 10 in the number of collisions and fatalities, and we don't want to be there.
No.
We would like for the public to really understand that we have the choice. We, the motorists, have the choice, and it's up to us to make the right decision.
To respect the amazing power of that train.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful power. And the trains are getting heavier, the engines are getting heavier, and they're adding more and more cars for economy, for efficiency's sake. So, your car against the train, don't have a chance.
Not going to work. Or you against a train.
That's right.
Don't walk on the track.
Absolutely. We do have a pedestrian problem, and most people do not understand, or maybe they just don't realize railroad property is private, and it's one of those places that's posted every few feet, so it's there. We need to know it's private. Four-wheelers. Oh, we've had 4 deaths this year.
Oh no.
With people riding four-wheelers down the middle of the track. That's bumpy, that's fun, but it is the most dangerous thing that they can do, because with the helmet and the noise of the four-wheeler, they can't hear the train
coming. And that train can't stop.
And you know what else? The train doesn't have to blow if there's no crossing.
Right.
So if the engineer says, well, from here to Asheville there's no crossing, he really doesn't have to sit there with his hand on the horn saying, oh, there's a four-wheeler. He doesn't have to. So we want to advise people, ask people, beg people, please stay off the property with your body, with your vehicles. Some kids even try to ride their bikes on it.
I used to walk on it. I walked it to school about every day. That scares me to death to think about it now, but I did, and you should not do that. I hear the train coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It is. This train is a double engine. We put them back to back so that we could get more of the officers on. And the officers rode through Asheville about 9 miles out just to witness the crossings, to see the gates work, to hear the timing, and also to watch the traffic and see just how it reacts.
Turned the lights off to show him how long it took to stop it.
Right, and usually, now he was only going about 15 miles an hour. So if you would look way past the bridge, he put the brakes on, and nothing else could be done to stop that train until it hit that spot.
Oh my goodness.
No braking, because he'd already put them on.
He'd already put them on.
That's right. So the guys will be coming off in a few minutes, and one of the things that we teach them, if you keep your eyes on it, is how to unload, to dismount. We do what we call a 3 point of contact. They have to have 2 hands and 1 foot or 2 feet and 1 hand, and it is really a long drop from the last step to the ground. So when you get ready to get up there, you be really careful how you get on and off. We have an engineer and a conductor, and they explain to the officers all the equipment across the dash, and you'll find that very interesting.
Yeah.
You know, there's no steering wheel, we do have a speedometer, we do have a horn, we do have the brakes.
How do you steer a train?
You just follow the tracks. That's right.
Follow the tracks.
You know, and that's a good point to the motorist.
Yeah.
That train can't swerve out of the way of you. So you have to be the one. That's right. You have to protect yourself, be the one to be out of the way, because your car can stop in about 200 to 220 feet in an emergency. Think about that train having the power to only stop in that 1.5 miles.
Yeah,
18 football fields.
An 8,000-ton train traveling 50 miles an hour would have a momentum of 400,000 tons. For a car to have the same momentum, it would travel 200,000 miles an hour, which is 265 times the speed of sound. It's impossible.
That's right.
You may know one of the biggest drug dealers in our community.
This drug dealer is supplying prescription medicine to the kids in our local schools.
1 in 5 teens have experienced prescription drugs. These drugs are the prescription medicine that's in everyone's home.
It can be medicine for pain relief, depression, muscle relaxers, allergies, or simply cough and cold medicines. Please be responsible for your prescription medicines
and help keep them out of our schools.
Down here, what we do is we bring the officers out, and there's a box car and a tank car, and we let them, and that next one is a hopper car actually, but we let them see the fittings, the air hoses, the braking system, because these cars do have a brake. That wheel is the brake on this car, and they learn how to turn it and how hard it is, and they also learn how to get on and get off, and we talked about that at the engine with the 3 points. They wear gloves and they wear the nasty clothes because this is grease, nasty, and we tell them, don't bring your good clothes out here. You'll go home and throw them in the trash. But this particular car is a high pressure tank car, which means it's going to hold things that are maybe some kind of chemical. And on the ground, one of the hazmat teams, the gentleman in the red here, Mr. Turner, is talking to them about the stuff on the ground, the wheels, where to look for a fault that might cause a crash or might cause a leak or anything. And then in a few minutes, Mr. Barnes is going to take them up on top, and he talks to them about how to secure. They really don't even want them near it, because if it has a chemical, you know, you do that thing about, if I can see it around my thumb, I'm too close and I don't want to get hurt. And so they talk to them about that. But this particular car is a high pressure, and the neat thing about that is what you see is not it. This is a hull with 4 inches of insulation, and then another tank inside.
So there's 2 tanks,
There's 2 tanks right there. One holds the material, and the other things protect it from any outside. A rock, a gunshot, something like that might accidentally happen, that is protected. So they do everything in the safest manner that they can.
So if there were some sort of collision or if a train derailed or something, and there's one of these tanker cars there, when they come to investigate, is that up to law enforcement to get in there, or is it hazmat, or does it matter who's?
It does matter. What the law enforcement guys are told is look at the numbers on the sides, look for the placards, look for anything. Now, if the conductor who's in charge of the train has his manifest, he will have a list of everything that's in every car.
Everything he's pulling.
That's right. And so if there is a derailment, the conductor will hand that to the fire or police who are first on the scene. They evaluate what it is, and then they call in the appropriate people.
So that's good for our citizens to know that our first responders are being trained.
Absolutely.
In how to handle these kind of.
Yes, they are. And your fire department has a most wonderful hazmat team. We've talked to some of the officers from Asheville today, and they say for our first responding team is just terrific.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of scary to see them come in all the gear, but you know, even though it's not necessary, that protection is very, very, very important to them.
Right.
It may not be necessary out here today, but it's a great thing to know they're prepared.
And it's just part of their training.
That's right. Now this one, this is high pressure.
Mm-hmm.
If you look underneath, you don't see any what I call them nipples or hanging down valves underneath the middle.
Right.
If it's a low pressure, you'll see those little gadgets because that's how they unload.
Ah.
And so that gives you the clue of whether it's a high pressure tank or a low pressure tank.
Well, here, like in Biltmore or any of our crossings here in the county, what goes through here? Everything? Wood, coal, you see that,
everything.
Wood and coal and pressure tanks like that, high pressure tanks like this. What is, just everything comes through here?
Well, yeah, pretty much everything that has to come out the other end has to come through here. They don't, there's no way to skirt the city, and if you look at the protection they're doing as far as the security, the repair of the parts, the law enforcement is always nearby. And the speed that they carry, they're not endangering anybody.
No.
But that's also another reason to remind the public, be careful at those crossings.
Right.
You don't want to be the catalyst for something.
That's my point. It's like everything comes through here, and it's safe, but we make it safe by looking at the signs and watching for those railroad crossings and respecting the track and the trains and everything like that. Well, now we're back. We have been for a ride on a train, and I'm here with Gene Robinson. Gene, what is your title?
I'm a conductor, Norfolk Southern Railway, and I'm also a presenter trainer with Operation Lifesaver.
Okay, and we were going to ride on a train and get some video for you to see at home, but we didn't get to because there were some new rules that say we couldn't actually take our equipment onto the train. But later, I'm going to tell you my experience with riding on that train. But for right now, I want to talk with you, Gene, we talked with Vivian this morning about some safety, and she told us some amazing things about trains. But what is the number one thing you would like for our citizens to know about safety and about coming railroad crossings and all this stuff going on? What would you really like for them to know?
Well, I would mostly like for people to understand how hard it is for a train to stop. It takes us a mile to a mile and a half to bring a train to a complete stop. And in the terrain that we live in, the area that we live in here, Buncombe County, McDowell County, Haywood County, you can't see for a mile and a half.
That's right.
By the time an engineer sees someone on the tracks in front of them, it's already too late to stop. And I ride trains every day. That's a helpless feeling. You know what's going to happen, and you know you can't prevent it.
And that's something we just saw on our ride.
Absolutely.
Around some of those curves, if there had been something there.
Yes.
And they did a great demonstration for us, 15 miles an hour. He pulled the brake. The train was just going 15 miles an hour, pulled the brake 500 feet before the train could stop.
Yep.
And tell me what you told me on the train about the brake. Once he pulls it.
He's pulled it. You can't take it back.
Right.
It's not like an automobile. You can't take your foot off the brake and give it gas and go.
Right.
It will stop the train.
But that's all he can do.
That's all he can do.
Pull that brake.
That's all he can do. There's nothing else.
Right.
And, you know, when you're talking about the speeds that some of the trains run, it's just physically and virtually impossible to make the train stop in time to avoid a collision.
Right.
That's why it's a federal law that the public has to yield the right-of-way to a train, not the other way around.
Right.
In most cases, our train tracks don't cross highways. Highways cross our train tracks. The train tracks were there first.
That's right. And you said most of the accidents happen, and that was hilarious to me, that the trains don't hit the cars.
No, and 25% of all collisions with trains, 25% of the cars drive into the side of a train that's already on the crossing.
Why is that?
A lot of different reasons. I would think that the number one reason that I have encountered is that people overdrive their headlights at night. All of our accidents, the majority of them, over 90%, happen within a 25-mile radius of the person's home. Right. They know the area.
Right.
They've lived there most of their life. They know where they're going. They cross over that same crossing day in and day out.
Right.
Never have seen a train there. And then one night when they're running a little bit late, running a little bit fast, and their headlights don't pick it up in time, they can't stop in time.
And there's the train.
And there's the train.
Well, we want to stop that, and you guys want to stop that.
Yes, and that's what we're about.
The safety measures that we saw on that train were amazing. The things y'all go through to make sure that everything is safe. And then, really, it's out of your hands.
It is. It is. And a lot of it has to come back to the public. The public has to take the responsibility for their own safety.
Right.
Those crossing gates and lights are not a safety device. They're a warning device.
A warning device. That's great.
They only warn you. They will not save you.
Right. And it's 20 seconds from the time that thing starts going bing, 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 gate turns down. 20 seconds, that train is across that intersection. 20 seconds is nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
But people can't wait 20 seconds.
I know. They got to run through those gates to see if they can make it.
And granted, we have trains that are a mile long and they don't get over the crossing in 20 seconds.
True.
But they do get over it in about 2 minutes. So can we wait 2 minutes, or are we going to die trying to beat the train?
Oh, that's just not worth it.
If it's a tie with a train, who wins?
Oh, the train.
Every time.
Every time.
Except for me working on the train, then I still lose.
That's right. That's right. And I was just saying, I don't think I want to be a conductor. I don't want to be an engineer. I can't imagine knowing that all I can do is pull the brake.
Exactly.
I can't get you off the track. I can't move that car. I'm just going to have to hit you. That would be awful.
It's impossible for you to set at a crossing and look at a train and determine how fast it's going simply by looking at it because of the sheer size and angle. It's like watching an airplane come in at the airport and land. When they touch down on the runway, they're doing 200 miles an hour. But it doesn't look like it because of the angle and the size they are. Trains the same way.
Yeah.
You really cannot determine how fast they're moving simply by looking at them.
And the immense power that train is, even just our two little engines, the incredible power that that can. And 100 cars full, oh my goodness.
Well, we're talking about 16 million pounds if you have 100 cars. The two locomotives we had today weighed 820,000 pounds.
16 million pounds.
Is what a coal train would weigh.
Wow. So, you need to respect the train. And I think we've gotten that across today.
I hope so.
We appreciate y'all having us out here. It was great.
Thank you.
Anything you want to leave the folks with?
Just our motto that we have.
Which
and when I was a kid, it was stop, look, and listen.
Yeah.
It's not that anymore.
What is
because it's not the law that you stop at all railroad crossings. If there's no train coming, you don't have to stop.
Okay.
It's look, listen, and live.
Oh, I like that. Look, listen, and live. Listen is huge because we talked about people who have the iPods, radio turned up.
Exactly.
Kids yelling, you've got to listen.
If you do the first two, the third one will come to you.
Look, listen, and you'll live.
That's exactly right.
That's great advice, y'all. So stay tuned for just a little bit more. We'll be back. I hope you've enjoyed our little journey on the train this time. We sure did. We had a really good time. Like I told you, I promised I'd tell you what we learned as we rode on the train. They would not allow us to take the camera because we rode with the engineer. We actually watched him direct the train. Like they said, a train follows the track. He couldn't steer. We learned all about that. We learned about braking. We learned that once he sees it and pulls the brake, it would be impossible not to hit you. It takes so long for a train to stop. It was just amazing. We came through this intersection right here on the train, and there was a woman on a cell phone standing on the tracks. We saw her. He got so nervous as we watched that engineer, hoping she would move, please move, because there's nothing he could do. If he'd pulled the brake right then, we would have ran right through this intersection here. It just taught me so much respect for trains. I wish we could have taken the camera on there so you could have seen, because I think you would have been able to feel the immense power that these trains have. Like they said, to a train, your car is a soda can. So please be careful at these kind of stops. Just like this one, there are no arms or whistles that come down. Just stop, be careful as you cross, and join Operation Lifesaver like we're going to, like they ask us, to look, listen, and to live. And please stay tuned next month as we do something new on Buncombe Live.